Hello, everyone. This is Miguel, and I am the host of Strategy Rewind, a podcast that focuses on the mindset and strategies needed for a breakthrough moment. Let me ask you something. Have you ever heard of the website Kickstarter or Indiegogo or GoFundMe? I'm sure you probably have. Heck, we've all used it at one time or another, or even come across somebody promoting a GoFundMe event. We've all seen this. You're scrolling through your social media account, and there you go. GoFundMe event is taking place. And let's be honest, this is an excellent method to bring your community together so that you can come up with a financial answer to a specific event or desired outcome. However, it is not beneficial to start crowdfunding your confidence. We're going to talk about that here today. Once again, my name is Miguel LeBron, and I'm a personal growth strategist. I help individuals think strategically so that they can accomplish their breakthrough moment. What are we talking about specifically when we're saying crowdfunding confidence? Well, crowdfunding confidence means relying on others to boost your self esteem. This is an ineffective strategy, right? It's ineffective. This is a flawed strategy since you'll be at the desire of others, meaning you'll be wanting individuals to invest and see something. Here's the problem that some individuals, they may see you as an angel, and other individuals may see you as the devil. This illustration may appear dramatic, I know, or it may even appear a little exaggerated, but I think it accurately depicts the situation. See, I've walked into several rooms and, and I've been stared at. I've felt individuals stare at me over their shoulder or look at me from the side of their eye, and they treat me as a leper. I'm sure you've faced the same situation. I don't think my experience is unique by any stretch of the imagination. Yet I've also been in rooms, I've also been in circles where I've been received with a warm welcome and an embrace. Despite this, my confidence has not been shaken in any case. This is because I'm aware of my skills. I'm aware of the gift. I'm aware of the abilities that I possess. And one of the things when we talk about crowdfunding your confidence, it oftentimes stems from the fact that we lack a actual awareness of the skills that we possess. So how do we do this? How do we not crowdfund our confidence, but rather that we would walk into these rooms confidently knowing that we ought to be there? Because of course, one of the issues that take place is that feeling of imposter syndrome. As I mentioned, you can be, looked as an angel by some, and that others may not see you as an angel, but a fallen angel. And so when we look at that, there has to then comes to this realization of you understanding who you are and what you bring to the table. Let's take a look here. Number one, we're talking about crowdfunding your confidence is something you don't want to do. Let's talk about what we can do to avoid doing such a thing. Number one, complete the promises you make to yourself. This is the first thing you need to do in order to stop crowdfunding your confidence. Complete the promises you make to yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Don't try to convince yourself of something that you know isn't true. Okay? Generally speaking, the mirror will not deceive you. And I say generally speaking because I remember several years ago, my wife and I went to a museum. And in this museum, they had a section where there was these different mirrors. And some mirrors would make you look tall. Some mirrors would make you look really short. Some mirrors would make you look really wide and others really thin. And the truth is that although that may be the case in that particular museum, oftentimes we actually do that to ourselves. We make ourselves seem more stretched out than we are. We make ourselves seem more capable or smaller than we are. See, likewise, we may get an altered perception when we rely on outside sources to build our confidence. So we can't be relying on other individuals to source our confidence, but we ought not to lie to ourselves. What does this mean? This means that if you say you're going to work diligently to become a better version, do it. Do it. If you say that you're going to go to the gym, do it. Stop lying to yourself. Stop saying, I know I can. Do you? Do you really know that you can? Do you really believe in yourself? And this is the issue here, is that oftentimes we have difficulty trusting others because we can't even trust our own self. So how do we stop relying on others to source our confidence? How do we stop relying on others to actually go ahead and start a GoFundMe confidence? You have to stop this. And the way to stop this is to, number one, complete the promises you make to yourself. If you say this is the year of breakthrough, say and mean it and run towards it. The truth is that if we rely on others to present us with who we are, we may end ourselves bankrupt. As a result, we must keep our promises and be honest to ourselves to build our confidence further. Because when you say to yourself, I'm going to do this, and you complete it, it builds a confidence in you because you saw yourself do it. And then you do it again, right? You say, I'm going to do something else, and you do it. And then you build more confidence. And then you do it again. You say, I'm going to clean my room, you clean it, and you're like, I did that. I'm gonna clean the garage, you clean it, I did that. I'm gonna clean the car, I clean it, I did that. And I know these may be some practical things, but consider the following. In the military, most often what they have individuals do is very basic initially. That is, you have to go ahead and wake up early. You have to go to bed at a certain time. You have to have a certain diet and you have to do your bed. Why? Because if you can say, I did my bed, you've started with a certain win. You can say, I did that. Right? Under those circumstances, they have to abide by the rules, but there is something there that we can learn, and it is that we must be disciplined also. That when we say we're going to do it, actually follow through, because by following through, it builds your self confidence. Because then you can look back and say, "Yep, I did that," even if I didn't think I was gonna do it, even if I doubted my own self for a minute, but I did that. And you can have building up that self confidence and actually believe yourself that when you say, I'm going over there, I'm going to do this, I'm going to be this person, I'm going to accomplish these things, even if others don't believe you, it doesn't matter. You believe in yourself and you know that you are not a lying person. All right, that's number one. Number two, we're talking about today, stop crowdfunding your confidence. How do we do it? Number one, you have to complete the promises you make to yourself. Number two, we must make a careful analysis of the talents that we possess. We must make a careful analysis of the talents we have. And so the question now becomes, well, how do I discover the talents? How do I discover the gifts? How do I discover these things? And really, the simplest answer is put yourself in positions where you can be of service. Put yourself in positions where you can be of service. Ask someone, how can I be of service? How can I help? Volunteer, become part of a church, become part of a community organization, go to elderly homes. When you begin to do those things, what happens is that you begin to spot necessities and you figure out a way to serve. And then you also discover your abilities. Like you may not be the person who can make the meal, but you know how to gather together the needed ingredients, right? And you can spot the situation so that everything can be executed properly. So you must carefully analyze what are your talents. We're often the first individuals to overlook the talents, the gifts, and the abilities that we possess. Can we admit this? We are often the first person. In fact, most often, we are easy to be able to give a compliment, but when we do something good and someone gives us a compliment, we nah, get out of here. Don't say that. And no, it wasn't that big of a deal. We play it down. We dumb it down. We minimize it. As opposed to saying, as number one, I did that, right? I promised to myself that I would do it, and I did that. Thank you for acknowledging that I did that. Thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. This is the challenge that often lies, that we'll do something great, other people recognize it, and then they compliment us. And then when they compliment us, like, no, no, no. We have difficulty in taking compliments because really we have difficulty in seeing that we are able to do something. A child is constantly seeking parental approval, constantly, and checking in with their parents to see whether they are doing the right things. When my daughters draw a drawing, they show it to me right away. Right away, they show it to me. And they ask, Daddy, what do you think? Daddy, do you like it? Right? And so the question that I often ask them is, I do, but do you like it? I like it, but do you like it? My, I have three daughters. One is 9, the other is 7, and the youngest is 2. And my 7-year-old is taking karate, and she is focused. That doesn't mean that she always is focused in the class, but she's focused in climbing those ranks. And recently she tested and she passed the test, and she was excited. And she said, I did it, I did it, I did it. Are you proud of me, Daddy? And I looked at her and I said, My love, I have been proud of you. But are you proud of yourself? And it took her a moment and she said, I'm proud of myself. I was like, You should be. You did that. You did that. But she said, I did that. I did. Of course, kids try to leverage it. So she was quick, like, can I get some candy? I was like, nah, you good. But the illustration here is the understanding that if you fulfill the promises you've made to yourself, not only are you more able to accept when people give you compliments, but you're also able to spot the gifting that you have, right? So as you begin to see the necessities around you and you say, okay, I'm going to do something about it. Okay, what are you going to do? I don't know, but I know I got to do something. And oftentimes, the fact that we said, I don't know in that sentence, we treat it as though, I guess that means I can't do anything. No, no, no. You are on to something. Follow that. Follow that. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to work it out. um, I remember not too long ago, maybe several years ago at this point, but I was having a conversation with my brother, and I was like, I have an idea. I want to talk about something. I was preparing to do a public talk, and I told him what I was working on. He kind of looked at me, almost telling me like, that ain't it. That ain't it. Go back and work it out. And I was like, hey, give me a minute. I'm working it out. I'm working it out. But the idea is, I may not have it all put together yet, but give me a minute. I'm on my way. And oftentimes, all we get is a glimpse, a small view of an opportunity where we can be of service. And I just want to encourage you, don't limit yourself just because you don't know how you're going to be of impact. The mere fact that you have felt the necessity to be of service is something you need to follow, and you need to work it out, because this is going to allow you to discover those talents that you possess. This is going to allow you to be able to see what it is that you possess. And of course, as you move towards it, this also builds in you that self efficacy of, I did that. So when we talk about how do we stop crowdfunding our confidence, number one, complete the promises you make to yourself. If 2023 is your breakout year, do that. Do that. Right? Do that. Set a goal. Set a time frame. Put together a plan. Put together a strategy. Surround yourself with people that will nourish your vision. Work diligently. Recommit every day. Be laser focused. But do not lie to yourself. Do it. Do it. Do it. Because what happens is that it builds in the confidence. And in the journey, you'll find and discover those particular gifts, talents, abilities that you didn't even know were there. You didn't know were there. Let me say it again. You did not know they were there. It's not that they sprung out of nowhere. They were already there. You just had not known it because you did not put yourself in a position to which it required the use of that gift. This is the issue when we talk about the comfort zone. The comfort zone doesn't require anything from you. The comfort zone does not require anything from you. It's when you step outside of your comfort zone that something is demanded of you. And oftentimes we get intimidated and we think, dang, I'm not going to be able to do anything here. I best go back to my comfort zone. But if you've been completing the tasks that you set out to do, even though you may feel a little intimidated, a little nervous, you may feel a little doubtful, you may feel a little weird, but you proceed forward nonetheless, what will happen is that you'll discover some things about yourself that you did not know were already there. In the comfort zone, there was no reason for those things to be revealed. But in this new space, it is required. So self-confidence is oftentimes confused with ego. And we're not talking about ego. Being able to know and understand that you did that and that you're a part of that, and being able to know, like, if you can sing, say you can sing. Like, that's not an issue. If you have the gift of gab, then hey, I got the gift of gab. Like, okay, great, fantastic. Superman can fly. Like, fantastic, you know? But what makes Superman Superman is the fact that he takes those abilities of leaping in high buildings and flying and looking through walls. And what makes Superman Superman is not the gift, it's the utilization and the purpose behind the gift. It's the fact that he understands that he has a call to respond to. It's like, I could sing. Great. When you pulling out some songs? Oh no, I can't do that. Then get with a writer. Oh, I can't afford it. You can't afford to write? You can't afford to write. Oh, but it's not gonna sound good. Who said? I don't know if you've heard the radio lately. There's a lot of songs that don't sound good and they hit the radio. You've got platforms like Spotify, you've got platforms like SoundCloud, you've got platforms like Anchor. I mean, you can easily go ahead and release a song. Easily. Tomorrow, you can do it. But the biggest issue is that oftentimes we begin to overthink it. We begin to doubt our skills. We begin to doubt our ability. And if along the way in your journey you said, I'm going to do XYZ, and you didn't do it, you also doubt yourself. You also doubt your capability of seeing it through. This is why it's important to surround yourself with people that will nourish your vision. I suppose the example of the singing comes to my mind because I was a guest on a podcast episode today. It's a podcast that will be airing sometime next week, and in this conversation, the podcast host was mentioning to me that he has a friend who she has the ability to sing, like she can really sing, and her desire is to release an album, and yet the individuals whom she's befriended lately are individuals who do not see her as someone who can do that, nor do they encourage her to seek ways to do that. And so, even though she pours into these friendships, she finds herself feeling as though she can't move forward. And, and so, I suppose there lies the reason of me actually speaking about the singing, because I am not a singer and I am not intending on releasing any albums anytime soon. But I think the journey, if there's anything we can appreciate of the power of social media, is the fact that we can connect with a number of individuals. Like right now, as I'm here live on the Wisdom application, there is a group of you that are coming into the group and a group of you that are connected. And I'm super grateful for the fact that you would take a moment to connect here today. And so just think about this reach, think about this connection that we are making. Of course, this recording becomes part of the podcast Strategy Rewind, which is available on all audio streaming platforms. And so you think about this conversation, it doesn't stay here, it reaches other people. And then that podcast that is on all audio streaming platforms. So you're talking about Apple, Spotify, Google Play, and all of the other locations as well. It also appears on YouTube. And so now, I've made sure to go ahead and ensure that the podcast is in as many places as it can be. But again, this conversation has the potential of reaching so many individuals. And I think the power of social media, that's a testament of the power of social media. An interesting thing is that back in the 90s, there was a group named Criss Cross, and the way they got discovered was in the mall. That's the way they got discovered. They were in the mall just break dancing and doing what they were doing, and Criss Cross go and give it to you, and whatever it is that they were singing. And Jermaine Dupri just discovered them as he was walking about. And so I only bring this to your attention because we're often assuming that it has to be this grandiose thing, all polished. You don't have to be a finished product to be in service to others. You don't have to have it all figured out. In fact, what has made Elon Musk such an influential individual in the area, in the sphere in which he services people, is the fact that before he even had a car made, all he had was the model, the skeleton. And so he showed everyone the model and he said, this is what it will look like. And what will it do? It will do this, that, and the other. Can you turn it on? No, this is just a model of what it's going to look like. But invest. And people said, all right, I'm going to invest because he had the conviction that it was going to happen. He had the conviction. And so, years later, we see Tesla, the juggernaut that it's become in the sector that is the electrical vehicles. But the point here being that you have to be able to see that before anyone else does, right? And so, in my experience, it took an individual to see something in me that I had not seen. At the age of 15, I had a mentor who saw something in me that I did not see prior to. But here's the thing: once I saw it, once I was aware of it, oh, we were off to the races. I haven't looked back ever since. And oftentimes in our life, we have people that come in or conversations such as these that actually bring out of us the awareness that, oh, that's right. I do have gifts, talents, abilities, capabilities. I do have greatness in my DNA. And now it's your choice to decide, will I look back or will I proceed to crowdfund my confidence? So as we talk about stop crowdfunding your confidence, number one, is complete the promises you make to yourself. Number two, we must make careful analysis of the talents we possess. And number three, get out of your way. Get out of your way. Sometimes we get in our own way while trying to do something greater. Too often, Too often we undervalue ourselves. We undervalue ourselves and over appreciate everyone else's opinion, right? We give a high value to everyone else's opinion, but little do we consider our own. We frequently find ourselves prioritizing other activities that don't add value to what we're trying to do. And what I would advise you, what I would encourage you, what I would ask of you is get out of your way. Just get out of your own way. Life will throw you trials and struggles, and you'll even meet some naysayers and some haters along the way. You ought not to let them dictate your happiness. Don't let anything stand in the way of being the best version of yourself. Remember that your tongue has the power of life and death. And so often in our situation, in our conflict, so often in the moment in which we see adversity, we get lost in the echoes of our own poison. We get lost in the echoes of our own words that, as opposed to speaking life and saying, I will conquer, I will do this, I will be victorious, I will see my breakthrough, I will accomplish my goals, as opposed to actually declaring those words and putting in the work, we often, in the face of the giants and dragons, we often just, we cower off and hide. We allow ourselves to be intimidated. We begin to second guess ourselves. We begin to look at other individuals and say, hey, you think I could do this? And if they say no, then no, it is. And this is dangerous because if you're looking to accomplish your goal, we are we are passing day 50. We've been past day 50, but we are inching closer to day 60 of the year. And as we inch closer to day 60, that just means to me that we're inching closer to day 100. And so, although commonly it's been said that it takes 21 days to create a habit, it's been determined that it can take anywhere between 16 days to 253 days. But if we are inching closer to day 100, that means that there's only 253 days left, right? You still have only, and I say only to try to present the sense of urgency of you still have only but some days left where you can actually attack your goals and you can commit to actually going head strong to those things that you want to do. So the year brings 365 days. And if you allow day 60 to turn into day 70 into day 80, and 80 into 90, and 90 into 100, just know that you'll have 265 days left in this year. And that's still enough time to create new habits. That's still enough time for you to stop crowdfunding your confidence. That's still enough time for you to be truthful to yourself, be honest to yourself. That's still enough time for you to reinvent yourself. That's still enough time. My friends, if you're listening, while it may seem as though you are out of time, you are not. You still, right now, can make the decision. I remember several years ago, I was given the chance to speak in this event. And so I took the stage and I stood before everyone. And, sometimes when you take the stage, they acknowledge you And so there was this moment of applause, and then everyone stood quiet, and I stood quiet too, almost to the point where it became an awkward silence. And I remember that I stood there and made eye contact with some people who kind of laughed nervously, wondering, is he actually going to say something? And is he really going to say something of value? But after the silence had covered the room, I started a countdown. And I said, five, four, three, two, one. Happy New Year's. And some people chuckled because it was the middle of the year. And after the crowd that did chuckle, there were still these individuals that had a face of confusion, as though, is it part of it? Is it not part of it? And then I proceeded to say, whenever you're ready to start your new year, you can start it. Right? So if today you decide, I stop crowdfunding my confidence and I walk boldly into the things I want to accomplish, today can be your new year. Today you can make that decision. You don't have to wait for another January. Do not think, well, I guess 2023 is going down. No, you don't have to have that type of attitude. You can start a countdown right now. And right now say, okay, maybe I haven't taken advantage of the last 50 days, but I refuse to lie to myself. I refuse to not consider the gifts and talents that I possess. I refuse to get in my own way of greatness. I refuse to let another year pass by. Maybe maybe your surrounding seems dark and you don't know where to start. I would encourage you to visit miguellebron.com, and there you could set up a free 30-minute clarity call. This could be the conversation that changes your entire year. This could be the moment that you start your new year. This could be the moment where you change everything and put all the fear and all the doubt and all the naysayers and all the haters and all the thoughts of the past and all the limiting beliefs and all those limiting mindsets. This could be the moment where you put them all to bed and you actually move forward to being the best version of you, living a fulfilled life.